Welcome to the Less Doing podcast, where you will learn how to start living more by doing less.
Let me help you optimize, automate, and outsource your entire life so you can focus on doing the things you love.
Now here's your host, Ari Meisel.
Welcome back to the Less Doing podcast. I'm your host, Ari Meisel, and my guest today is Fabio Viviani, who many of you probably know as a master chef and restaurateur, but he's also a tech mogul now. So we had a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Thanks, Fabio, for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's talk about a little bit about your background first before we get into the tech side of things. So how did you get started in the restaurant business?
Well, I got kind of stuck in it. I grew up in a family with no means, very little money. So I needed to help the family balance, to be on the positive side. So when I was 11 years old, I got myself a nighttime job from midnight to 7 in the morning. I was baking. I was a baker. Did that for about 5 years maybe. Every night, 7 days a week. I was only off for a couple of days a year when the pastry shop was closed. And one day the owner of the bakery said, "Damn, man, you work every night. You never complain. What's up with that?" And I said, "Well, I need the money." And he said, "What about if I pay you the same to work daytime in my restaurants?" And I said, "Yes." So I was 17. About a year later, I learned a little bit about restaurant business, and I decided to open my own restaurant. I've always been very unemployable, very independent. I don't generally follow rules, or I don't like people telling me what to do. So I was designed to be an entrepreneur. And what happened with that is that from that point till today, we opened many restaurants, we built the business, we failed a few times, and now we run a 20-plus restaurant, 1,500 employee, $100-plus million business in hospitality. And part of that also has helped in coming up with and develop several features for Dapple, which is the tech business that we are launching shortly in a few weeks. And that's it. And that's how kind of got, plus some personal event that led me to the need to create this platform.
Yeah. So I want to back up a little bit before we get to Dapple too, because your story is so important in how this is informed, because you've done really well as a restaurateur, and a lot of chefs, there's a lot of chefs who really love what they do and make great food, but they don't necessarily make very good business decisions. But you've really grown an empire.
Right. Well, for me, it was about the need. I had no alternative. I didn't have a plan B. So a lot of chefs, they are very caught up into creating food every day and brag about their food. But food has no end, no meaning unless you build something with it. I'm about to add in to people's lives. I'm about to creating legacy. I'm about to give you something that I can add value to everybody's life. And I can't do that just by being a chef. By being a chef, you create amazing food. You make people happy and they eat your food, but it's very limited. It's very selfish. So for me, creating a business around the culinary industry was a bigger goal than create wonderful dishes that everybody wants to eat and few reviewer brags about it. Today we employ 1,600 wonderful people. They support their family with our business, and we have amazing partner and co-workers. And I think that the bigger picture excites me more than actually cooking. Although I still cook, guys, don't get me wrong. Regardless being a big restaurateur or whatever you want to call it, regardless, me venturing into the tech world as a business, I still cook. I'm in the kitchen a couple of days a week still, making sure that nobody forgets that this guy can cook too.
Right. Well, but I think the word here that's really important is scale, right? Because I think that a lot of times people assume, incorrectly, that you can't necessarily scale high quality or high service, right? And that's exactly what you've been able to do.
Yeah. Scaling, it's fundamental. Anything that doesn't scale eventually will die. We're getting poor connection right now. Do we have any issue with that?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm hearing that too. So it's okay. Let's just, that sounds a little better now. How's that?
Yours sounds better, but it still says poor connection. But I have a full bar, so I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, I like you're saying, for me, scaling, it's important. Any business that doesn't scale will eventually die. Business has a life cycle. You go from infant to institutionalization and all the phases. You're a toddler, you're a young adult, you're a grown-up person in your business life. And we are at the peak right now where we are expanding the business, we're hiring the right management. But the problem, like you said, is always scaling. How do we broadcast the procedure? How do we leave a legacy behind? How do I make sure that everybody understand where Fabio Viviani come from, his philosophy, his MO, and all the things that made our business and the people that are in business with us successful is the hardest challenge to broadcast. And that's kind of what we found the solution.
Now, this is speaking from somebody who's not in the restaurant industry, but is there some sort of a theme or something that you feel like sort of really is a part of you that's in all of your restaurants?
First of all, the food is all from scratch. So we don't do processed food. We don't take shortcuts. And the most important things that we have, it's a true sense, true meaning of hospitality. Remember, when people go out and they want to have lunch or dinner, they don't go out because they're only hungry. Because what you do when you're hungry, you whip a sandwich at your house, or you eat a snack or something. When you go out, it's because you want an experience. So for us, from the moment you valet your car to the last moment that we drop the check to your table, that you leave the restaurant facility, you get greeted by the hostess, and even the valet is a nice fucking person. For us, it's the whole experience that add to the fact of our own success. If every component, every aspect of the restaurant business is not integrated and is not equally as good as the food or the service, those are the business that don't survive when things get a little tougher. And we have consistent growth every year.
Now, when it comes to building a team around that, what are some of the things that you found have been really helpful and successful for you in terms of finding the right talent, training them properly, and building a team culture?
First of all, you gotta find decent human being. Meaning, it doesn't matter how good is the system. If you can't find a good human being, it's gonna still be a problem because everybody has his own individuality and everybody has his own way of operating. Now, I know that I will never find somebody that takes care of the business, that is passionate and giving as much as I am. With that said, once you find good people or okay people or modestly talented people, a good system, a strong system can supply the need for natural talent. For example, we don't thrive to get average people in our operation, but we have an outstanding system. And when you pair average people with an outstanding system, you're going to get still great result as long as they can follow the system. So we did a massive amount of work ahead to be able to create a system that once followed lead to results. And what we have right now is just an operation that control that people follow the system. The system works. The system is bulletproof, stupid-proof, idiot-proof. The challenge is to make sure that everybody follows it. And that's what we policing in our place. We got to make sure that everybody follow the system. If you follow the system, you get the result.
Yeah, so then this is fascinating to me because this is a big part of what I do in business consulting is we're always helping people set up proper processes and systems. So is there a manual? Like, is there a training program that people go through? Like, what are those systems? What does that look like? From a geeky point of view, like I'm really fascinated. So tell me what those systems
are. From a geeky point, of course, there is manual. Of course, there is day sheets. There is pre-shift. Of course, there is daily check-in and daily check-out. But what we do is accessibility. So that's why also our tech platform integrates perfectly for our business because any one of our employees at any given time of the day can ask a question on the moment, in the spot, and get the best, most consistent, truthful, heartfelt answer that he's ever looked for. Regardless the application of our tech that we'll eventually talk about it for entertainment and, and whatever else, like the pure pleasure of wasting your time talking to celebrity or your favorite personality, Apple has the application that supply the need of us being present every day. If you're a manager, if you're an operator, if you are a CEO or an owner of a small business and you can't delegate everything, you will see that you're going to spend 50-60% of your awake time in repeating yourself over and over and over on subject that they should know in first place. Isn't it true?
Yes, it is definitely true.
At this point, what we created is a culture where we are always available 24/7. All you got to do is to ask. And that's how kind of you supply. I don't need to repeat myself. I got Doppel that does it for me, and I don't have to worry about that I have a bad system in place. The system works, has proven to work. We have to hire talent that are manageable, and we can follow up with them.
Yeah. So now, and the last thing I want to get onto just before we get into the more details of Doppel, what does your day-to-day look like now? You said you still cook, obviously, but like, what is it? You know, you're managing an empire in multiple states, multiple restaurants, all this stuff. What does your sort of day-to-day look like?
So I get up at about 5 in the morning before the sun rises because it motivates me. If I think about every day I can beat the sun as far as getting up, I get up before the sun, then everything else in my day is going to be pretty easy. Now, this applies great for fall and winter. Summertime, 5:30 in the morning is already lights out. But it's a metaphor for me. I get up before the sun. I go to bed after the moon goes down. So the way I do it, I get up, 5:30 in the morning. I make coffee for myself. I do some exercise. Usually I do some trampoline to activate my lymph nodes and get my system nice in check. I do like a good 30 minutes of speed run. So I get my blood flow, and now I'm charged for the rest of the day. Then I take about 10, 15 minutes to do my appreciation and it's called an incantation. So what I do, I repeat in my head every day by meditating and by telling myself that everything is going to be fucking good and we're going to kill this. I pinpoint my 3 main objectives for the goal. That align my emotion with my action. Now, what about 6:45, 7? I take a quick shower. I wake up my wife and my kid. I have a 2-year-old boy that gets up about 7:15 every morning. We have breakfast together for about an hour, play with him for a little bit so my wife can get ready. And then I go to the office. She does her things. Babysitter come in, takes care of the baby for a few hours. And then depends. Some day I travel. Some days is mostly meetings. Some days is office time. But every day, about halfway through the day, like, 2 p.m., usually after I had a little lunch, I take about 30, 45 minutes and I read something. I read something meaningful. I do it every day. I use a platform called Get Abstract. Get Abstract is pretty much a platform that gives you book review and breaks down books. It's like kind of a mentor box, but without the cost of it. And what it does, it teaches me new things that I haven't learned before. I read about a book every day, a short format, so 20, 30 pages, and it takes me about 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. Then if I hear something or if I read something I like, I have a meeting about it with all my manager and see how I can implement that in our everyday procedure. After that, it's the rest of the day, between 2:30, 3 until about 7 p.m. It's about phone calls and consolidating. So result, figured out things for the next day, check with everybody, check some email, and give some direction. Then I go home. If I don't travel, when I travel, it's all the bets are off because I travel for reasons. So sometimes I'm opening a restaurant or sometimes I'm out of town doing some shows on TV or whatever. So that doesn't apply, but that's usually my everyday. Then around 7:30, I'm home. I have dinner with my wife, kid, put my kid to bed, hang out with the wife for about an hour, hour and a half, drink a glass of wine, watch a movie, whatever. Then she goes to bed about 10, and then I usually spend another hour, hour and a half in the office, in my home. I have a home office. And at that time, when both of them are sleeping and there is no need for daddy to be there anymore, I take care of about an hour, hour and a half of business, which what I usually do, I plan the next day move based on the changes that occur during the day. So that's pretty standard for me.
That's very cool. It sounds like a very nice day, actually, to be honest. So let's talk about how Doppel came about.
All right, so 2 things. All right, Doppel is the short tag for doppelganger. Your stunt double. You always hear the actors have their doppelgangers. They have their stunt double. Doppel is nothing else but a platform that is in a form of an app that allows anyone to be available 24/7 for all their audience and answer any question without ever repeating themselves twice. So the principle of Doppel was pretty much born out of the need for me to connect with 1,500 employees daily. I have 700,000 people follow me on social media. And on average day, I get asked 20, 30, 40 questions. Now, really, regardless if you are a celebrity on TV, a school teacher, a fitness advocate, a personal trainer, a dentist, a doctor, an entrepreneur, or you're a consultant, your life is based on interaction. And most of the time, the interaction is passive because you're on Facebook, you're on social media, you are on your email. It's only limited by the amount of time that you can give to it. It's impossible for anyone to answer every question that people are asking them. That's why people are very selective to who they answer because their time is very precious. What we have built, it's the perfect platform that complements Instagram, complements Facebook, complements LinkedIn, complements your manual, complements the operational of your company, complements your business practice, because you will find 1, 2, 3 minutes to give the most compelling, well thought, consistent, best answer you've ever gave about any question. And our platform will save it, archive it, and use it every time that somebody will ask the same question again. That's why, depend on your day, on your mood, on your time available. If somebody asks you a question, hey Fabio, how do you spend your day usually? What's your day look like? Now, if I'm on an interview with you, it's a 2-3 minutes answer,
right,
and they give you a very good pictures of it. But if I'm on a flight, I don't really want to talk to the person next to me, or I don't have time to answer, I'll probably tell you, look, I'm usually busy at work. I'm running around a little bit. I do some office work in the morning, and then I try to be home for dinner. Well, that's an answer, but it's a shitty answer. Now, if you're asking me on Dapple, I can give you my best answer, knowing that from that moment on, anytime somebody go on Dapple, go to my profile and ask me, hey, Fabio, how do you run your day? They're going to get the most compelling breakdown they've ever asked. Now, the reality, though, this is very useful. Dapple is a great tool for anyone that has the need to interact with an audience, or for any fan that has the need to get closer to their celebrity. Think about how many fans somebody like Kobe Bryant or Justin Bieber or Kim Kardashian they have. They have millions and millions of fans. And these fans, they have no fucking chance to talk to them or ask them anything, because these celebrity, they don't have the time to answer. Now, with Apple, we can make that possible, because it doesn't matter how many fans you have. They're not going to ask you 3 million questions. They might ask you a few 100,000 questions, but the reality is that the subject of those questions are the same 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 topics. So the more you use Apple, the more compelling your profile, your alter ego, your virtual self will become. And, by doing 30, 40, 50, 100 video, which only takes a couple of hours, you can provide hours and hours of interaction with anybody going there that wants to talk to you. Now, this is the practicality of it. The real reason why I'm excited about Dapple is because when I was 20 years old, I lost my brother best friend. And I have no memories of him, because the reality is that it was 1998. There is no Instagram, there is no Facebook, there is no YouTube, there is nothing. So I have no memories of my brother. And Dapple is a platform that, while we cannot make you live biologically forever, if you have a family, if you have children, if you have grandchildren, if you want to live a live, interactive memory legacy of yourself, we made it possible. Me and my wife, we're recording video every day on Dapple right now. So my children, they can ask me directly certain things. Think about if I invented Dapple when Steve Jobs was still alive. How many new entrepreneur and how many visionary you think that would be interacting with him still? Millions. I have a 94 years old grandfather that is recording video daily. So my 2 years old son in 10, 20 years can talk to grandpa directly without my grandfather be there, because of course, naturally he will be gone. So that's the true power of Dapple. The power of Dapple is, sure, you're going to make yourself available 24/7, but there is a much more deeper meaning. While Dapple will be used for entertainment, I feel that the legacy building and the legacy leaving behind, and for corporate, teachers, students, and educational, is going to be a big, much, much, much bigger market. Because, I love the idea of people talking to celebrities, and I love the idea of people connecting with each other, like it's 1980 again, where people used to talk to each other, actually. But the reality is that Dapple is so much more than that.
Now, so it's one thing to have an idea like this, right? And it's another thing to actually bring it to fruition. So you've been in the restaurant industry. This is not, you're not a software programmer as far as I know. So how did you go from idea to actually creating a reality?
So first of all, the greatest idea are the one that supply a need that doesn't exist yet. Everybody's happy with social media because they never had anything new. But social media ain't very social. Social media gets your head on your phone and it takes you out from human relationship. So we bring that back, which is a big need. The other thing is that I'm not a tech guy. I know nothing about coding. I couldn't build Dapple myself. So I went to the most intelligent, talented person I've ever met in my life. His name is Marco Ciofalo, which is a longtime friend, and he's in Italy right now. He works out of Italy, and he's my co-founder for Dapple. And we had this idea. He had already worked in the space of messaging, both kind of interactive online. We perfected the idea together. He built the first beta of the platform, sponsored by my about $300,000. And then we took this beta, and I went to bring on my champion, now my CEO, John Grabsky. We met through a mutual friend. He's a 5-time veteran of tech business. He built and exit successful business many, many times in the tech world. And now he runs the company as a CEO. I have Laura Dorsey. What she does pretty much, she's a ex-Google, high ranks, ex-Nielsen Data. She was running her venture capitalist. She's now our chief marketing officer. So with a good idea and my first capital to be able to develop it, I went, pitched it to the right talent, to the right people. And what's happening is that now we're building what I believe will be the next disruptive technology in human relationship. Because now you're truly going to be available forever, 24/7 to everybody. And on top of that, what we did, thanks to the magnificent group that I have, what we did, we created pretty much a social media aggregator. Now, you do consulting. A lot of people do internet video. A lot of people have a blog. A lot of people have a website. But all these real estates, they're sparse. They're very broad all over internet. And regardless of Google, they're not very searchable. So now you can link every video you've ever done, every podcast you've ever had, every blog you've ever written, every piece of information you've ever archived, you can link it to DAPL. And if tomorrow I ask you a specific question about that piece of information that you have done 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago, you can take a short video introducing that, and the content is there so we can drive traffic to your platform. Think about, 2 years ago, I made a great video on how to do the perfect fresh pasta recipe. When Google search algorithm, all their content gets buried with new content. So now the video, though is still relevant, is still very useful. So if somebody tomorrow asks on my DAPL profile, hey Fabio, how do you make fresh pasta? I can take 10 seconds, I can do a video and say, hey guys, I love fresh pasta. It's one of my favorite dishes to make. By the way, I have a great video for you to check out. Click the link below. And I can send people to a 3-year-old video on YouTube that might be older from a time perspective, but it's still current and relevant. Make sense?
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, this is huge in terms of how you think about knowledge sharing works, because you're exactly right. Like, we say the same things over and over. They develop, we produce content out of them, and then for people to be able to find them in a way that's natural to them is not always that straightforward.
Yeah, and the reality is this. Look, I'm going to repeat myself. I know nothing about tech. My role in the company, besides being, the founder and one of the major shareholders, I'm the chief strategy officer. So I create connection with influencer and expert. I'm the front man as a face of the company to make sure that this platform gets in front of everybody. But completely honest, if it wasn't for John Grabsky and Laura and my team right now, we couldn't have what we have right now, because they are the smart and intelligent people that technically built this. We are just the founder with the original idea behind, the passion to pull forward, the initial capital, as well as the connection to make sure that this gets broadcasted everywhere. But the real talent are the people working behind the scene every day, the John, the Laura, the other folks that we have in our IT department. Those are the magicians. Those are the ones that I will make sure I got to give credit to, because I had a great fucking idea. But as you know, idea and money not always go anywhere.
Yes, absolutely. So I've already been playing with the app. I'm very, very excited about the possibilities that it's going to open up for people. And when this releases, people should be able to find it in the App Store. So
yeah, it's actually, they're going to be able to get it for free from the App Store. And it's free for a good part. There are some paid features, but you can use it for free in most cases.
Yeah, and so we'll have links to all that in the show notes. But so the last question that I would like to ask in these interviews is, what are your top 3 pieces of advice for people to be more effective? And you can interpret that however you like.
Well, first and foremost, you gotta work, you gotta live your life working by priority, not urgency. In life, people tend to react, not anticipate. I anticipate, I don't react. The moment you're forced to react, you're already too late in the game. It's like when you're playing in the stock market or cryptocurrency. If you're reading what's hot in the news, it's already too late to buy it. Same things in entrepreneurship and in life. If you're driven by a to-do list or if you're driven by urgency and emergency, you're fucked. You gotta be driven by priority. What is going to make you happier, healthier, and richer? What's gonna take you closer to your goal? First and foremost. Second tips I have for everybody is that you gotta audit your day. Most people keep saying they don't have time. Well, there is 160 hours a week, 160 hours every week. Even if you sleep 8 hours a night, every night, which is a long fucking time to sleep, and you work 40 hours a week, there are at least another 50, 60 hours a week left for you to do shit. That's enough time. That's enough time to do anything. The problem is that people do not audit. They don't audit their day, so they don't know. They have no idea how they waste time, and they think they're so busy, but they're just running in circles doing nothing. And third tips, you have to get rid of distraction. You don't need your phone with notification on every minute. You don't need to respond to every email, to every text message. If you knew my phone number, which you know, but the audience won't, and you call my cell phone, and I don't pick up, my answer machine tells you, dude, thanks for reaching out. Don't leave a message. I'm not going to listen to it. Text me what the urgency is. And if it's not urgent, I'll talk to you later. And 90% of the time, even if it's urgent, I don't get back to people because it's only urgent for them. So you got to leave clear mark in the sand and create boundaries on what's important and urgent for you. You want to tell me about your sister that got engaged? I don't give a shit. Good for her. Talk tomorrow, or I'll talk to you Sunday while I'm in the toilet. You see what I mean?
Yes.
Oh my God, I got in a car accident. Well, maybe you want to call 911 because there's nothing I can do for you. Now, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just trying to give you an example on how people waste their time. They shouldn't be. They just got to give priority to the right things at the right time. And if you do these three things, you're going to get much, much further in life, because everybody wasting your time is not going to be there when you need money to pay the bill. You wasting time but not knowing how to manage your life is not going to take you where you want to be. And the other thing is that, like I said, unfortunately, we're living conditioned by everything else around us, when we should be the one doing the conditioning to things that are around us, not vice versa.
Absolutely. That's an excellent point to end it on. So again, we'll have notes in the show notes, but where do you want to drive people to? What link should they go to? What should they check out?
If you guys want to go to the Apple store and check out Dapple, all you have to do is to Dapple, D-O-P-P-L-E. It's in the Apple store or Google Play. You guys can get it there. If you want to check more about myself, go to my website, www.fabioviviani.com. Or if you have a question for me, you can either email me, info@fabioviviani.com, or just Dapple me. I'll be there to answer you guys.
Awesome. Well, Fabio, thank you for your time, and thank you for creating what I think will be a real start of a movement with the app. So appreciate your time.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for listening to the Less Doing podcast. If you'd like to get more done in less time, join our exclusive community of entrepreneurs and visionaries, the Less Doing Labs. It's free and just for you. Go to lessdoinglabs.com/more done.